everyone. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
And also here is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hey, this is my first movie talk from the new day.
Oh, that's right.
Feeling good about it.
Woohoo!
Also here, AMC's Christian Harloff.
Hey, everybody. It's nice to see you, I guess, because I can't really forget it.
Hey, before we get rolling, I should mention, a lot of people noticed that yesterday's show went up at like 6.5 hours late. It's all the bugs, folks. We are in the new studio. This is why we're not going live right now. This is why we're doing all the shows pre-recorded, because we're still encountering all the bugs. We're getting the bugs worked out, though. So hopefully, this one will be up a lot sooner than 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. That'd be great. All right, let's get started.
All right, with Avengers Age of Ultron hitting AMC theaters on May 1st, AMC has just announced their participation and lineup for the Ultimate Marvel Marathon. The marathon will begin on April 29th with the original Iron Man movie and conclude on April 30th with Avengers Age of Ultron. Here's the lineup. 6 p.m. Iron Man, 8:25 The Incredible Hulk, 10:35 Iron Man 2, 1 a.m. Thor, 3:10 a.m. Captain America the First Avenger, 5:30 a.m. The Avengers, 8:48 a.m. Iron Man 3, 11:15 a.m. Thor the Dark World, 1:45 p.m. Captain America the Winter Soldier, 4:20 p.m. Guardians of the Galaxy, and 7 p.m. Avengers Age of Ultron. John, are you up for the Ultimate Marvel Marathon?
I don't know. I mean, okay, look, who are we kidding? I'm going to go to at least a bunch of this. I'm excited about this. The only film on this list, really, that I don't have a lot of interest in seeing is Iron Man 2. Other than that, the idea of sitting down and watching the first Iron Man again on the big screen, yeah. The idea of watching, I know some people didn't love Captain America the First Avenger. I really like Captain America the First Avenger. I know some people didn't like Thor the Dark World. I quite like Thor the Dark World. I'm looking forward to all these things. 27 hours. I don't know if I can do 27 hours. Maybe. I know a lot of people are interested in this. They're going to check it out. Anyway, Christian, what about you? You going to be there for this?
Not for the 27 hours, because the reason why is I'll be a zombie by the time Ultron hits.
Yeah,
and I want to go in fresh. But I will be like you, and I'm going to be going into a lot of them. I actually want to see the Hulk again. I'm one of those people that I loved the Hulk movie with Ed Norton. I know some people thought it was okay. I loved it. It was one of my favorite ones. So I'd like to see that again, because that ending fight between him and Abomination.
Oh, Abomination's so good.
It's like a UFC fight. It's so fun to watch. And the first Iron Man, and I'm also with you. I liked Thor Dark World than most people. I really wanted to see the Avengers again, but I don't know if I can do it at 4:20 or 5:20 in the morning, whenever it is. But anyway, yeah, it's a great idea. It's a lot of fun. And if you catch up on your sleep and do it, I think that it's going to be a very fun experience.
Just a quick little interesting side note, that fight between Hulk and Abomination, on my street in Hamilton. I was in my apartment. It's like, wait, what's going on? And they cordoned off all of Main Street in Hamilton and Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and they set it all up, and that's where they did the scene. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, Amy Rose, what about you?
Well, I definitely commend the people who will do this, because if you can be there for that amount of time, everyone there, it's going to be such an amazing event to experience with other people, diehard fans of these properties. I, for one, will not be there for the whole duration. It's a little intense for me. I don't even like seeing movies past 10 p.m., much less at 3 in the morning. So I commend the people. I think it's really cool that they're doing this. I also would love to see the original Iron Man. I definitely want to see the Avengers right before Age of Ultron on the big screen. I'm sure they'll do that as well.
Well, yeah. Well, AMC is going to have the double header too.
See, that's really exciting to me, because leading right into it. But yeah, if you can make it, it's going to be a really special event. But bring your Red Bull.
All right, what's next?
With Emma Watson cast as the lead Belle in the upcoming live-action Disney film Beauty and the Beast, the film has now cast Gaston. According to a report from Variety, Hobbit and Fast and Furious 6 actor Luke Evans has taken the role of the village antagonist bent on marrying Watson's Belle. Amy Rose, do you like the casting of Luke Evans as Gaston?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I like Luke Evans. I think he's got talent. Everyone keeps talking about how small he is to play Gaston. The dude is 6 feet tall. Like, what are you talking about?
And muscular.
Yeah,
and
like
big.
I don't know that criticism. If you don't see him in the role, fine. But I can't say live action takes on these kind of properties excite me out of the gate. But we saw, what Kenneth Branagh did with Cinderella, and we're seeing a lot of amazing renditions of this in the live action form. So if done well, it could be great. Emma Watson, she is just taking such amazing steps for her career.
Yeah.
Perks of Being a Wallflower, even her little role in Marilyn, and just everything that she's been doing. That new one with Daniel Bruhl's coming out. She's just an
Her role in This Is the End.
She was hilarious
She
in
was
This
so
Is the
funny
End.
in
She
that.
stole it. So I think that with her at the helm, as the lead, and then Luke Evans in there, I think they could have really good chemistry. So I do think the casting could be interesting.
I love Luke Evans. This guy should be in the top 5 right now of the biggest movie stars, I think, in the world. I think he's that talented. I think he's that personable. I think he's that charming. I just think he's great. And I cannot begin to tell you how much I love Beauty and the Beast. I wore out VHS tapes when I was younger watching Beauty and the Beast.
I still have it, John.
Really? On VHS?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a little bit jealous. I'm going to admit, I'm a little bit
bring it
jealous.
in.
That is awesome. And Gaston is one of the great Disney characters we've seen. My one question mark, and it's just a question mark, it's not a problem, but my one question mark has been, Gaston is supposed to be kind of hulking, kind of really big. But I have no doubt that they're going to do this right, and that getting an actor of the caliber of Luke Evans is great. I'm still kind of bummed out that he backed out of The Crow. I was kind of looking forward to him doing that. But all that being said, I think this sounds great. I'm all on board.
Not to mention Emma is tiny.
Well, that's
so
what
in comparison.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the point I was going to make, was the fact that Emma Watson is little, so he's going to look hulking compared to her. And I'm actually glad he didn't do The Crow, because The Crow right now seems to be cursed all the way around. Like it just, and what Dracula,
losing directors, losing
everything, and Dracula Untold was not the movie for him at all. I agree with the guy. Is immensely. He's so talented. He's so talented, and I think that he could be a big movie star. But his roles have been lackluster.
He has been. I know we're going off on a tangent here, but he has made some very questionable decisions with his career.
Yeah,
because there was, first of all, I actually didn't mind Immortals. And I thought he was pretty good in it, but I didn't think the movie as a whole. Mickey Rourke was the worst part of that film, by the way. And it's so unfortunate. But then he did that one with John Cusack, that Edgar Allan Poe one with John Cusack.
Right.
I can't remember the title.
Poe.
It was just Poe. There you go. And not a good outing for that.
Hobbit?
Then he chose, what's that?
He was good in
Well,
Hobbit.
Hobbit,
And even with that movie, even with the Hobbit, he could have been the Aragorn of that series, and I felt that he was fine. I mean, he acting wise, he was great. Performance was great, but as far he wasn't focused enough. They spent too much time on other stuff, and they should have focused on him. But I think this could be a role that he really could shine some more, especially going back and forth, like you just said about Emma Watson. She is that big movie star. She's going to continue to be.
Yeah.
She's so young still, and she's doing all these great movies. Like This Is the End was a great. You saw the comedy chops and the dramatic chops. She's the goods, and I think so is he. And we'll talk about. We'll talk about the Beast in just a little bit.
Will Emma Watson? The big question is, will she ever be as good of an actor as her dad? That's the question. I'm being facetious. Of course she is. I love Eric Roberts and all, but I mean, come on.
I'm like,
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show.
Eric Roberts.
Yeah, from Best of the Best.
That's not her. Emma Watson? You're thinking.
Oh, I'm thinking of Emma Roberts.
You're thinking Emma Roberts.
I'm like,
yeah.
who's that?
Yeah.
Well, we're off to a great start.
He doesn't have a British accent. What's going on?
We're off to a great start.
Don't worry, it's the Princess
John,
Bride. He's in the Princess Bride. Don't worry.
I decide to make a mocking question, and I end up making a jackass
You
of
mock
myself.
yourself, Cambia.
You stopped me, so well played.
All right. Well, I don't even know why I bother going to go on, but let's do it anyway. Folks, it's that time of the show for Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her ass, she's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then the rest of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
As many of you know, Sony Pictures is developing a Barbie movie, and they've just brought on a new writer. According to Variety, Academy Award-winning writer Diablo Cody has been brought on to rewrite the existing script. Cody has previously written films like Juno, Young Adult, and Jennifer's Body. A representative for Sony said the following: Diablo's unconventionality is just what Barbie needs. It signals we're going for a legitimately contemporary tone. We're bringing her on because she had great ideas, but even more importantly, she truly loves Barbie. Christian, buy or sell Diablo Cody writing Barbie?
I mean, I hate this movie. But I don't know if I could sell this, because I think Diablo Cody is talented. So I hate that I'm doing this. I tentatively buy this because I think she'll bring some fresh and fun ideas to it. I'd rather be doing anything than watch the Barbie movie, but with her on board, at least they're bringing in some talent. I'm clearly not the audience for this movie, but she could really do something fresh and original with it. So yeah, I mean, strangely enough, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I am. I'm also going to buy it. As a matter of fact, I mean, Juno, a young adult, and she just did such a great job writing Selma that I think she didn't get the credit she deserved for that. Oh, am I getting that one wrong too? Okay.
Eric Roberts wrote that.
Eric Roberts wrote Selma. So, I mean, look, she is stupid talented when it comes around. Young Adult is one of those movies to me that is like, everybody needs to see this movie and nobody saw that movie. You know what I mean? I really, really like the work she did on Young Adult. So, anyway, I think she's wonderful. I cannot wait to see what she does with it. The one question mark out, look, I'll be the one to say it because we're all thinking it, all right? A former exotic dancer is going to be writing Barbie, okay? I mean, I'm just putting that out there.
It's perfect.
Nice.
Who cares what she used to do? She's a great writer, and I think that's all that counts. And I really did like the Sony representative's comment saying, look, she had great ideas. We love what she does with the characters. And it says to me that there might be something more to this Barbie movie than maybe we feared at first, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Amy Rose, what do you think?
I think it's interesting as well. I mean, I maybe am more about the target demo that they're shooting for, and I'm still just like a Barbie live action. Geez, we are running out of ideas here. Christian, you have a young daughter. You're seeing this whether you want to or not. But I do think getting someone like Diablo Cody is exactly what you need to do. I'm imagining along the lines of how cute the Toy Story 3 aspect of Barbie and Ken were, because that was hilarious.
That was really
so
good.
if they do it kind of like Lego Movie where it's like fresh and a little bit like, I don't know.
I thought it was live action. It's not live action?
I believe. I
thought
think
it
it's
was- I
live
think
action.
I don't know.
I think it's
I thought it
live
was live
action.
action.
I thought it was live
Yeah.
action too. Could
Quite
be wrong,
honestly,
though.
I have not been keeping
Eric
up with the
Roberts.
Barbie with Eric Roberts. He's just everywhere today. But I'm not keeping up too much with the Barbie movie. But I do think getting someone like Diablo is exactly what you need to do to kind of widen the audience and the interest for this one. So
Okay.
I give her the benefit of the doubt.
I have no idea why I think you would have a real thought on this, but I'm just curious though, Ashley. Are you into? Oh, I caught her in the middle of
I'm
a cough.
choking over here.
She's choking on her own water.
Go on.
Okay, I'm just. I'm
just so shocked that a stripper is writing the Barbie movie. All I picture it, the poster, okay? And Barbie's twirling on a pole in a leather outfit. That's all I'm picturing now.
Okay, the marketing
that
departments,
movie.
the marketing departments are going crazy right now. Now
Oh
they're
my
like,
goodness.
hey,
Barbie.
dude.
Hey guys.
I will not be taking my daughter to see this movie.
Right? You think parents are going to be mad at that? Anyways.
All right, what's next?
Deadline is reporting that MGM has secured the rights to the story of Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. The story was previously adapted into the animated film The Secret of Nim back in 1982. According to the report, Ice Age 5 writer Michael Berg will pen the script, and the film will be a live-action/CGI hybrid. John Byers sell MGM producing a new take on The Secret of Nim.
Bye. Secret of NIMH has always been in my top 10 favorite animated films of all time. I love that movie and I love the story. And you know my theory and my philosophy on remakes. If they remake it and it ends up being total crap, who cares? I still got the original, but I would love to see a modern retelling of it. And if you have not seen The Secret of NIMH, I believe if it's not on Netflix, and I think it is on Netflix. If it's not, you can probably find it on Amazon Prime. So check out the Amazon streaming service too. Just watch it. It's great. And then you'll see why. Once you watch that, you'll understand why I think a modern retelling of it could actually be really, really slick and really good. So anyway, Amy Rose, what do you think?
I'm actually on board with this as well. I buy it. Secret of NIMH, The Last Unicorn, those were two really dark political social commentary on a lot of the things going on in the world at the time and just in general, and they still very much stand up today, but they were not for kids. They were very dark and disturbing at times. Secret of NIMH, the testing and all that stuff. I mean, there's a lot, and I do think this could benefit from a retelling. It is a classic, and I'd be curious to see how they would modernize it, but they need to keep the important themes intact. So yeah, I'm on board. I'd be curious to see what they do.
Christian?
It's a buy, and I hesitate from doing the big buy because the writer of Ice Age 5, and Ice Age 5 wasn't great. But I love Secret of NIMH. I loved not only how dark it was, the fact, the family themes and everything. The main character is trying to get a cure for her son who's very sick throughout the whole thing too, and they developed the character so well. I want to see if they can do it the same way, but I don't want them to go away from the dark tone because I remember watching that as a kid and being terrified at points too. I want them to stick with that. Don't go away with the themes, and you just keep it. The reason why I want to see it remade, because I don't think a lot of people out there do know what that movie is. I think we grew up with it. There are a lot of people like, what is Secret of NIMH? So to reintroduce to people, I'm all for the remake. I just want them to stick to what made the first one so special.
Agreed. All right, what's next?
Getting back to Beauty and the Beast, along with Luke Evans, former Downton Abbey star Dan Stevens has been selected to play the prince-turned-beast in the film, opposite Emma Watson's Belle. Stevens has also starred recently in films like The Fifth Estate, A Walk Among the Tombstones. Amy Rose, buy or sell the addition of Dan Stevens to the cast of Beauty and the Beast?
I'll buy it. Why not? Let's give him a shot. I honestly am not too familiar with his work. I don't watch Downton Abbey. I know that it's amazing and everyone loves it and it's a great show. And Fifth Estate I didn't actually care for too much, so I don't think anyone really shined in that film. And it wasn't the fault of the actors. They did a great job, but sure, he's got beautiful blue eyes and that's really nice for the Beast to have. But I'm all about actors breaking out and getting an opportunity like this, especially, you know, amongst the talent of Emma Watson and Luke Evans. So sure, let's do it.
Yeah, and we're gonna get completely railed if I don't highlight that. Yes, we do know it's Downton Abbey, but come on, all of us have said Downtown Abbey.
I said Downton.
That's oh yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Downton.
Whoopsie, that's all me. I'll take the blame. Downton.
We have all done that. I called it Downton or Downtown Abbey for the longest time. That being said, I watched the first 2 seasons of Downton Abbey. I did, and I enjoyed them both very much, as a matter of fact. And the death of his character, spoiler alert.
Yeah, total spoiler.
Well, that was seasons ago. It was seasons ago. The death of his character was like one of the more shocking moments to me watching television a long time. And he was like one of the main stars of the show. And then when he departed, I thought he was just going to start popping up and being a big star everywhere, especially considering the popularity of the show. That didn't happen. This is the first time I'm seeing his name pop up for a significant picture in a significant role. And so I'm very curious. Look, let's face it, 90% of this film, the Beast is going to be CGI. And we're not really going to actually see him per se, probably till the end, till the spell is broken. Spoiler alert, till the spell is broken and he reverts back to his princely charming form. But at that point, I would still tell Emma Watson to take Luke Evans. But anyway, Christian, what do you think?
Hey, get in the cab. Let's go to Downtown Abbey.
First of all, I'm surprised. The reason he's got this role is because of the guest.
I
Well,
love
yes,
the
yes.
guest.
Because
Yeah.
everyone's I mean, that's how I keep hearing about him. I still haven't seen the guest.
Didn't even think.
Everyone's talking about him in the guest. You got to see Dan Stevens in the guest. This guy is incredible in the guest. That's all I've heard from people about him in this. And then, like you said, Downton Abbey, and I actually really liked him in Walk Among the Tombstones. I thought he was really good in that.
I can't even think of who he was.
He's the dealer that Liam Neeson goes to to work for. So I thought he was really good in that. So I like that he's getting a shot. I buy it for sure. And I think that what we're going to see from him is kind of the Andy Serkis model. You're going to see him in the maybe the performance capture for the Beast, and then you'll be able to get that character out, and you'll see his face inside of the Beast, and then at the very end, like you said, with the reveal. I'm excited for this guy. I mean, when you start to hear about his name so much and from what he's done, and when you do recognize and remember him in certain roles, certain people have that star quality and acting quality, not just movie star quality, and this guy seems to have it, so I'm going to buy it.
The guest was amazing. I totally got caught up in the Downton Abbey world, but you should check it out if you haven't, because it really is a good film.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. So we're going to get to your questions right now, and then we're going to take some Twitter questions at the end, but we'll get to those in a second. For now, Ashley, what's in the mailbag?
Fly West writes, "Greetings, AMC. I have been watching your awesome show for a few months and have really enjoyed the commentary thus far. Don't know if you all spoke on this yet, but with the new introduction of Spider-Man in the MCU and Black Panther already set to join, I have noticed that Marvel suddenly has this no mask or no secret identity rule. Though I find it unlikely, especially for Spidey, should we expect these new characters, and maybe even ones to come, to lose the mask as well? If not, do you think it would be odd if just one character or so was masked and not the others? Thanks."
Yeah, that was one of the funny things about the new Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially when Civil War came up. Because if you know the comic books, kind of the crux of the issue in the comic books is that, you know, no more secret identities. And it's like, whoa, superheroes need to be able to have their anonymity and blah, blah, blah. And in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there ain't no secret identities. Everybody knows who Iron Man is. Everybody knows who, you know, Black Widow is. Everybody knows who Hawkeye is. Everybody knows who all of them are.
Not
right?
the Hulk. Not everyone.
Well, the government knows who he
Yeah,
is.
the
So, I mean,
government
so they
does.
know who Dr. Banner is and all this kind of stuff. So it's like there are no secret identities to start with. So that's a really interesting question. Once they loop in Spider-Man, I have a feeling that Black Panther, I had a conversation with a friend of mine about this actually after the Marvel presentation. Black Panther will have a mask, but I totally believe that it will be publicly known that he's the prince. I think it will be publicly known that he is who he is. I think if you know the comic book, there's this iconic frame in the Civil War storyline where Spider-Man has this press conference and he gets up at the podium and he takes his mask off. So I have a feeling they might go that way too, but Secret Identity isn't really the crux of this Civil War in the movie universe, so maybe not. But it is going to be interesting to see how they handle that. Christian, how do you think they're going to go?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be you'll have an issue of it for sure. Maybe some of the people who because for Tony Stark, it's not like you said, it's not going to be a big problem for him. So he might be fighting for it. Maybe Cap's trying to protect him for those. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Hulk and Spider-Man are on his side. Because they could tackle that issue. I agree. I don't think it'll be the prominent issue. It won't be the one that is really furthering the storyline, but I do think you're going to have that iconic moment with Spidey doing the thing. I think because it's what everyone remembers. It's what people who haven't read the comic, even if you do a Google search of Civil War, it's that shot of Spidey taking off his mask. So yeah, I think they'll probably handle it, but in a different way.
The only reason I think they won't do it, because
I
partially think they will, and I partially think they won't, is because remember, Sony is planning a new trilogy of Spider-Man films. Do they want their Spider-Man to everybody knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? So that's the one thing that's probably going to hinder that. Amy Rose, what do you think?
Well, we know at least Deadpool will have a mask, so
yes,
that's good.
Deadpool.
That's good. It is kind of interesting when you read this question and kind of bring it up because, we grew up with that anonymity factor where, we're like, oh, with Superman, he just puts on glasses and no one knows who he is, But like that was part of the fun and the magic of it. So it is kind of interesting how they've kind of shifted that. And I don't necessarily mind because of the way it plays in the universe. It's exciting. I mean, I remember that last scene, with Natasha speaking to the government and like, it's just cool. It's a different take on it. So I just think it'd be really cool. There's no way in hell this would ever happen because we live in an age where rumors go wild and everyone knows everything. But it'd be really cool if we see Spider-Man in, Civil War and we didn't know which actor it was and he had the mask then the big reveal. That would be so exciting. But I just don't know if they could keep it under wraps like that.
Don't know that they could? I've had so many people tweeting me. I had this one guy in particular tweet me saying, John, why doesn't Marvel, you'd think that Marvel would be smart enough to know that would be a really good idea for them to not reveal the identity of who's playing Spider-Man till he's on screen. It's like, yeah, but that's like saying it would be a great idea for Marvel to take 7 magic leprechauns and create pots of gold. Yeah, that's a great idea. But it's not possible. Like in today, you nailed it. In today's day and age, where everybody carries a recording device and camera and world communication device in their pocket, you cannot keep that under wraps.
And do not forget about set leaks. Most of everyone's comments
mostly come from the sets.
Comment the other day said, Christian always brings something back to Star Wars. Let me do it again. A lot of the leaks that came through from Star Wars were people on the set. Extras, people taking costume pictures. Like if someone knows that they can get a little kashish for to find out exactly who Spider-Man was, it's going to be leaked. If one of the big scoopers finds it out, it's going to be leaked because that's, like you said, that's the age we live in. So there's no way they can hide it
unless it's a super close set. Like stars, we don't really know much now, and they sign their life away. If it's outside, there's no hope. They can't stop. We saw with Batman v Superman, people like recording, like, look, it's Bruce Wayne. Like it's silly, but it's a really nice idea to think that there could be that much of a surprise.
So here's the idea. Here's the idea right now. So you have shots of the Avengers fighting Ultron or fighting whatever the threat in Civil War is going to be, fighting amongst each other or whatever in the streets of Captain America Civil War, and all that kind of stuff is going on. Then the camera cuts to a 1-bedroom apartment with just one guy in it, and it's Spider-Man playing solitaire on his laptop. And then he looks up at the camera and takes his mask off. It's
Eric Roberts.
And it's Eric Roberts. And it's Eric Roberts.
It's actually Emma Watson.
and only the Russo brothers are on set to film it. There's just Russo brothers, one light, one camera. That's it. No one else.
Or they can just put Tobey Maguire, have Tobey Maguire walk around on set with Andrew Garfield and Donald Glover.
Is it emo Tobey Maguire from the third? How about that one?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, what's next?
D.A. Miller writes, hello, AMCers. Just a quick question. The next Star Trek movie, how should they address the passing of Leonard Nimoy? Should they integrate it into the story since he was pivotal in the 2 reboots, or just a memoriam screen for the end credits? Live long and bring on the filthy.
Not a lot of people are going to like this answer, but this is honestly the way they feel. I think Paramount needs to do a hell of a lot, especially approaching the release of Star Trek to commemorate the passing of Leonard Nimoy and what he has meant to the franchise and all that kind of stuff. I think they need to do a lot. That being said, I don't think you address it in the movie. I think you just do your movie and you don't address that. I honestly feel that way. I think you do a lot outside of the movie to celebrate Leonard Nimoy and what he did. You all know what we thought of Leonard Nimoy and his contributions, not just as Spock. A lot of people forget he was a darn good director. He made some great films. But I think in the movie, you don't. You leave that outside. The movie is the movie. The real life is real life. I almost think you diminish it a little bit if you try to address it in the movie. Like, this is a real life issue, so keep it in the realms of real life. That's just my opinion. I'm sure there are many, many other contrary opinions to that. Maybe at this table, too. I don't know. Amy, what do you think?
I feel like they might become victim to too many like tips of the hat if they do it like that, which you're right, would kind of just dilute the fact that this was a really big deal. And beyond just his film contributions, he was such an incredible and compassionate man that people just really loved and respected. So I do think you make something really special at the end, even the beginning, and dedicate the film to him. And
in the opening credits or in the ending credits? Yeah.
But I think that to have a cohesive storyline that doesn't diminish, you just leave that part out.
I agree. I mean, and the other thing is too, if they wanted to mention something like, young Spock could say that he lost communication with old Spock or something, they wanted to throw a line in. If they, I personally didn't. I loved seeing Nimoy in the last one. I thought it was fun. It was a nice throwback. I didn't necessarily think you needed him. I think it was because, hey, it's Leonard Nimoy. Let's put him in there. So I agree with you guys. I think it's a tribute thing. I don't think you need him to further the story at all. And don't be surprised if now, because of the unfortunate passing of Nimoy, you're going to probably see a Shatner cameo, more likely than rumored before.
I question it. I still don't think we will.
I think now
I'm not
going
to fall over shock if it does. I just don't think it will. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Twitter. Listen, we don't just take questions via mailbag. You can send in questions anytime you want to Twitter. Just hop on Twitter and use the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. So we've picked out a few Twitter questions you guys have sent in. So Ashley, what have we got?
James Desiel writes, would you be open to a Western-style film about Obi-Wan in the desert leading up to the original Star Wars?
Okay, I don't like prequels. I mean, I don't like prequels. But look, if you did an Obi-Wan prequel, and I'm not going to be surprised if they do, I'll be there, and I will check it out and I'll watch it. Here's the problem you run into, though, with a movie like that about Obi-Wan in the desert. It's the same kind of problem you run into with a Superman movie. Because when you do a Superman movie, you got to ask the question, who on earth does he fight? And how do we set up something that's a legit threat to Superman? In the Star Wars universe, especially Obi-Wan Kenobi at the height of his powers, what's the problem? What's the problem in the Tatooine desert that Obi-Wan Kenobi cannot deal with and handle? So you would have to get very creative there about coming up with something that could be a legitimate threat to work within the storyline. And if you can do that, then a Western-style Obi-Wan in the desert type of thing, that could be actually really cool. Christian?
I got 2 words for you. Darth Maul. He is alive and well in the universe, and there still hasn't been a tie-up to his character yet. That is how you do it, because Obi-Wan's still looking for revenge for Qui-Gon. They met in the Clone Wars. It has to happen in the spinoff. I am so down for this. I think it would be so great. I want to see him also defending Luke from the distance. I want to see him looking after Luke in the distance. I want to see other things that he's been doing while he's on Tatooine, learning more about the Force, because by the time we do see Obi-Wan in Episode 4, he's very strong with it. And whatever this first spin-off film might be, if it is this rumor about the Death Star plans, what is his role in that? I mean, probably nothing, but what is he doing during that time? Because it would be essentially around the same time period. It'd have to be in between episodes 3 and 4. Is he aware of the rebellion? All of these things that could lead up, and I'd like to see Ewan McGregor return. So I'm very excited for the possibility, and it's been rumored that it'll happen, so I'm crossing my fingers that it will.
I love Darth Maul. I would love to see him return. I don't think he was utilized properly in the little bit that we saw him in the film universe thus far. But yeah, I don't feel the same way about prequels if done right. I mean, X-Men First Class is one of my favorite ever. And you got to see
there are exceptions. Yep, I love
how they
First Class too.
became what we know. And if you do it right, I mean, get Matthew Vaughn to direct Obi-Wan prequel. I'm in. So I think if done right, it can be really well. But if it's a paper-thin reasoning for it, of course, it falls apart, like we saw with some of the films I won't mention because it upsets so many people out there when we bash them. But yeah, I think if done right, there are exceptions, and I'm just excited that the universe is expanding.
Well, also don't forget that we don't know how Obi-Wan found out that Darth Vader was Anakin Skywalker. We know that they don't meet until Episode 4, but we also know that Darth Vader's causing some stuff when he's during that time period. So Obi-Wan has to be aware of it, and he does find out. So that could also be another storyline inside of his movie.
I'm guessing he can probably still sense that Anakin was still alive.
Yeah.
And then once that, then, oh, look, Emperor's got a right-hand dude. Well, 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, and it would be fun to see, like, you know, him hearing about these things because of the way Rebel sets up some great stuff. The new canon comic books set up some great stuff, and these new novels. It all ties in. So it's I would love to see it.
See, I like Darth Maul too.
Yeah.
I still don't want to see any reference to the prequels whatsoever. That's just me. All right, what's next?
Austin Garrison writes, "Hey guys, what do you think of the Academy possibly going back to the 5 Best Picture nominees format?"
You know what? I'm a little bit torn on this because for those who haven't heard, there are reports out there right now that the Academy is considering going back to a 5 nominees, like every other category. 5 nominees, 5 nominees, 5 nominees. I really enjoyed it when they expanded, because it brought in a few more pictures to get that nomination, even though, you know, your number 7, 8, 6, 5, those films don't have any chance of winning. There were a lot of films nominated for Best Picture this year that we knew had no chance of winning, but it was great that they were able to get that recognition. But at the same time, I also kind of feel like the more you include in that list, the less prestigious the honor is. There's with the fewer nominees, the higher the honor of the nomination. The more nominees, the less the honor of the nominations. We were kind of joking around a little bit. AMC Theaters just did their biggest award, which is the General Manager of the Year award. And this is not to diminish anybody who got nominated for this award, but there were 40 nominees. Or no, it was 48 nominees, right? So I thought, like, how prestigious is it to get this nomination when there are 48 of the nominees? So I'm torn. I like having more films, but I also like the idea of going back to 5 because it increases the honor of the nomination. I'm torn. I have no answer. Christian.
I hate it. I hate that they're going to 5. I think that they should go to 10 and stick at 10 because the difference of, like, let's say the 48 people, I don't know how many people that are doing that job, but there are so many movies. There are so many bad movies. There are so many good movies. There are at least 10 great movies throughout the year, at least 10 great ones, and they deserve to be recognized. Not all of them will win, and not all of them deserve to win, but they should be recognized, all 10 of those, the ones that got nominated this year. And I think you're going to see a lot more snubs, a lot more people saying, well, this should have been this. I mean, Nightcrawler should have been, Nightcrawler, no, it wasn't. It was not in there, and it should have been.
Only screenplay.
And look, and that's after like 8 or 9. They could have fit that into the 10, and it was deserving of it. Should it have won? Probably not. But still, I still think 10 is the right amount to give the movies that really deserve to pull through. I think everything else stays at 5, but stick at 10. 5 is not enough.
Hey, Rose?
I think it all comes down to proportions. Like you said, 48 out of how many? 10 out of hundreds of films. Right. So to me, I know we talk about this a lot. You sometimes say that if they're not really going to have a chance of winning, what's the point? But to them, it's like, yes, people are paying attention to all the efforts that went into this film. But I just don't like the voting system currently. Oh, it could be 7, it could be 6. Just pick 5 or pick 10 and stick with it. I just think that that's silly and skewed. There's always going to be 2 more films that were incredible, that touched a lot of lives, that should be recognized for that fact. Even if they're not going to win, it's a huge honor to be, you know, at the biggest event for film fans. Boom. So I think it should be one or the other.
Now, to play devil's advocate here for a second, is that, let's say you move it to 10, right? Then there are always going to be arguments about that 11th film. There are still going to be arguments. You could make it 15, and then there will be arguments and snub accusations about the film that was in 16th, 17th, and 18th should have been in the top 15. It's like those arguments are going to be there no matter how many films you nominate.
Yeah, but I also think if you cut it down to just 5, all you're going to see is biopics, and you're not like, it's going to diminish the chance of any of the big blockbuster movies ever get nominated. It's hard enough for them. Like Return of the King is the last one you think of the genre kind of fantasy films to be nominated. I think that's just going to eliminate the chances altogether if you go just to 5.
Although one thing in its favor is the final year that they did 5 only nominations. The last year they did it before they expanded it out, and I think the following year they had 9, was the year of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. And had they had 10 nominees that year, you would have had the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight as a Best Picture
Better
nominee.
have been.
That's what I mean.
It probably was 6th. I mean, it probably would have been in the 6th spot. So there's an argument to be made there for that too. All right, what's next?
Calderon XXO writes, who do you think is going to tie with Katharine Hepburn first, Daniel Day-Lewis or Meryl Streep?
Great question.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Because Daniel Day-Lewis, every time he's in a film, you make the argument that he should win the Oscar. Like, that's just automatic. He's in it. He probably deserves to win. And so like, I think he's got like a 2.5 to 1 ratio. For every 2.5 movies he's in, he wins Best Actor. I mean, that's an insane ratio. Yeah. That's how good this guy is. However, he needs to step up a little bit his productivity. Whereas you get Samuel Jackson, who appears in 73 films a year. You get Daniel Day-Lewis, who does like 1 film every like 3 years.
But man, are they good.
But man, are they good and worth watching.
But Meryl Streep has the most amount of nominations to date.
Yes.
And if she's in a movie, she's nominated.
She's nominated,
So
yeah.
I think that's a really interesting question.
It's a great question.
But you're right. Daniel Day-Lewis, he only takes those roles. Into the Woods, where I enjoyed it more than some because I grew up on Sondheim and his music. You know, a lot of people are like, she shouldn't have been nominated and blah, 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 blah. And I'd rather have Renee Russo been nominated, no question. But she's in it. She is class. She's everything that this industry stands for. She's a legacy, but so is Daniel. So I think that's an interesting question.
I'll be the unpopular one here. Everybody knows I came out of Nightcrawler talking about Renee Russo. I actually thought Meryl Streep deserved the nomination over Renee Russo. I did. Anyway, I know this is the unpopular opinion.
Yeah, for me, Russo also. But what I will say, as far as your point with him not being as productive, that's why he gets nominated all the time. Yeah. Because he lives in the role. Like he was Lincoln at his house.
So method.
He lives in the role. But that's also why I think the Street Monster will be the one who she's a monster. She's a monster because she every time whatever she's in, she nails it. Like even though I don't agree she should have been nominated, she was phenomenal.
She
in the
was.
movie.
She's always good.
She's great. She does a lot more movies, so I think that she will eventually do it. But Daniel Day-Lewis, even though will win next time he's nominated, but it's just he does like one every like 2 or 3 years. So just because of number wise, I think Streep's got him.
And Redmayne is creeping up. He's doing The Danish Girl, which screams Academy, and he just won this last year. I would not be surprised if he's nominated again. So he's young, but he's creeping up there.
Well, one.
I'm just saying.
Put 3 on his mental, then let's have that conversation.
But someone would have said that about Tom Hanks when he went boom, boom, and then Tom Hanks is, he hasn't won one in a long time.
He also hasn't been in a lot of things.
Yeah, well, he's got like 5 nominations.
I'm just saying, being as young as Redmayne is, let's have this conversation when he's the age of these actors.
I remember having that same conversation about Cuba Gooding Jr.
That's true.
Show me the money.
It'll happen.
All right. Do we have another one?
We do have another
one. One more Twitter question.
Bradass TV writes, generally, it seems almost everyone hates Indiana Jones 4. How in the world did it get a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes?
I honestly think there are a couple of reasons for this. It's the same kind of reason why, like, I think the reviews for Phantom Menace were really good when they first came out, because everybody was supposed to like it. And I think the Indiana Jones thing came out, and I think everybody was supposed to like it. But I will also say this. This is what I said coming out of the theater the first time I saw Crystal Skull, which ironically enough, I was sitting beside Larry King for. I was sitting with Larry King at the first screening of Crystal Skull at Paramount Studios. I came out, and this is what I said to the buddy who came with me. I said, you know what? That was a very decent hero action adventure movie. It just wasn't Indiana Jones. And that's what I said. But I said, if you took the name Indiana Jones off that title,
it's The Mummy,
and you had, Burt Feathercap and the Adventures of the Crystal Skull.
Great name.
Burt Feathercap. You had Emma Watson and the Adventures of the Crystal Skull. It's actually not a bad little hero action adventure movie, but as an Indiana Jones movie, it totally felt out of place and was subpar for the name. It wasn't worthy of the name. And that's why I think, those are the 2 reasons why I think it got the instant reaction that it got. And that's just my opinion. I know there's going to be a lot of different opinions. I might even think differently tomorrow when you ask me again. I don't know, Amy Rose, why do you think the critic ratings were so high for it?
I really have no answer for that, but I feel the same way. If they didn't have it under the blanket, because Indiana Jones tonally was very different. But as a film separating it, Cate Blanchett, all that madness, it had a recipe for success. It just missed the mark for me. I felt the same way about the Bourne franchise. A lot of people like Legacy a lot more than I did. But to me, it was so far inferior to the 3 films with Matt Damon that I was like, don't throw Bourne on, just make it a separate franchise with Jeremy Renner, and I would have enjoyed it more because the plot was just so much weaker, So to me, sometimes it's actually doing a disservice when you attach that big, beautiful franchise we all love so much, like you're saying with the prequels. So yeah, 78%. It really is quite interesting.
It's funny though too, because Mark and I got certified on Rotten Tomatoes about 2.5 years ago, and I didn't really know how the system worked. And the way it works is if you give something, let's at like 3 out of 5 stars, right?
That's a positive.
If you give 3, that's a positive. So even if you were like you said, it wasn't a great Indiana Jones movie, but it was a fine adventure film. Totally. And everyone said that. If everyone felt that it was just okay, but good enough, you see that 75, 80%, and you go, oh, everyone thinks it's great because it's got 80% or whatever, too. Most of those people, I mean, now look, everybody could have thought it was great when they first saw it, and that's why it happened. But don't always think because it's got that big high score that everyone was raving about it. They might have just passed the mark. People just aren't aware that that's how Rotten Tomatoes works. Now, I totally agree with you. I think that people came out of Indiana Jones and for respect of Spielberg and respect of the franchise, they said, yeah, it was fine. And then they thought on it for a bit. And like if they re-rated it, I bet you it would drop significantly.
All right, well, folks, that's all the questions today. But there is probably one other thing we should bring up that we didn't have initially in our stuff here. One of the execs of Columbia Pictures got on Twitter. I don't know if you guys at home have seen this. And you know that Columbia's working on a He-Man movie. And he tweeted out this picture of Battle Cat, which, look, it's just a picture. You show me a bunch of stills from Transformers 4, and I'll go, badass, that looks awesome. It's just a picture. But badass, that's awesome. That looks incredible. I mean, if you wanted a grittier, what's the comparison, the cross between?
Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars.
You get a Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars He-Man, and you say, make it gritty and give it that type of feel. That's the picture you come up with. I got to tell you something. The picture should not make you excited. A single picture should not make you lose hope. But this is actually making me a little excited. What were your guys' reactions when you first saw this?
It's awesome. It's totally awesome. You're right. It can be, I mean, sometimes we see amazing trailers and the movie is not good. So we don't buy too much into early glimpses. But as a first glimpse, standalone, it's amazing.
I've talked about this with you guys many times. I'm attached to the Masters of the Universe franchise from my days working at Warner Brothers. So I've always wanted this. The way that they did the cartoon in 2002 was a mixture, and that's the kind of art that you got from that series. It looks like that's going to be the direction. Seeing this picture, I'm very excited. Fantasy meets science fiction. That's a franchise we need to see, and this could be it.
Yeah, it could be it. I mean, lots of potential there. I mean, if nothing else, too, just the way they designed it maybe gives us a little bit of insight into what type of color palette, what type of world they want to paint. And if that's true, I can't wait to see the whole picture. All right, folks, that will do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC theaters right now, managed by many very great general managers who all deserve to be in that 48 number of general managers. You can head on over for your theater movie ticket information and showtimes to www.amctheaters.com. Also, don't forget, if you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you share our video on your Twitter and on your Facebook, of course. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my left, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you online?
Well, you can find me at Christian Harloff, but if you go to the podcastawards.com and vote for my show on Best Movies Podcast, that would help me tremendously.
And make sure, and you can, that's just at www.podcastawards.com. All right, and it's under the movies and film category.
Yes.
Sitting over here, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you?
You're gonna win.
I hope so.
Good quote. You can find me at Amy Rosie on the various social channels, and don't forget we have a new AMCI Indie Spotlight up at AMC Independent, and we're taking your short film submissions. We're trying to give you guys a platform for all those potential filmmakers out there, and we want to see your work. So send it to amciindie@gmail.com, and thanks for all your support.
And, of course, our lovely and courageous host today, who's battling through fighting off a cold. She's still here today. Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you? Besides at the doctor's.
Exactly. You guys can tweet me about how much you hated my coffee today at Ashley Mova on Twitter and Instagram. And happy Thursday, guys.
And you can find me on the various social media networks at Facebook and Twitter at John Campea. And you can find me at the Podcast Awards website, voting for Schmoes Know for Best Movies and Films Podcast. Head over there right now and cast your vote. I want to thank the guys in the room, Ray over there for the graphics, Jonathan handling all things as said, Dennis doing all the switching, and thanks to you guys for joining us. So thanks for being here, guys. My name's John Campea for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.